I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me. An open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly. Thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase the bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Lonely now, I'll give up everything.
Sick of the venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many ones that are so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's not of no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting. If I can see my dream, lay things up. 'Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. Lonely now, I'll give up everything, daunting. If I can see my dream, lay things up. 'Cause I'll do anything.
Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. Today marks the 1 year, I'm not going to say anniversary, I'm going to say tragedy of the Idaho 4. It doesn't even seem like it's been a year, guys, doesn't it? We already know about the Idaho 4 case, but we're going to go over it just in case someone comes in and they don't know about the case. It's not much that I wrote down in my notes, and then we're going to watch a few videos. And that's what we're going to do today. I did make a little poster that I put on my community wall for Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. So we know that, of course, I just said it happened on November 13th, 2022 at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, at the on the property, well, outside property of University, Idaho, but they all went there. The stabbed victims were Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The surviving victims are Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. They have arrested Brian Kohlberger, charged him with the murders, and have put the death penalty on the table. Oh wait, it's not gonna be, the trial's not gonna be for another year. I can promise you that. On November 13th, 2022, around 3 to 4 a.m., an assailant broke into 1122 King Street, Moscow, Idaho, House occupants were Bethany, Ethan, Dylan, Xana, Maddie, Kaylee. I'm so sorry. Maddie and Kaylee were on the third floor and were stabbed. Dylan Mortensen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were on the second floor. Xana and Ethan were stabbed. Dylan was not attacked, but supposedly heard and saw something. According to Dylan, she heard noises upstairs that sounded like Kaylee was playing with Murphy. She also heard someone say, "Someone is here." During this time, Dylan opened her door 3 times. On the third time, she said she saw someone dressed in black, wearing a mask and having bushy eyebrows. He is also tall. Investigators and detectives found a knife sheath for a K-bar knife. It was located under Maddie between the blanket and Maddie. The sheath tested positive for DNA. It is 1 in 1 octillion chances it is Brian Koberger. Brian was arrested in Pennsylvania at his parents' house while keeping tabs on Brian. They noticed him bagging trash in Ziploc bags with gloves and placing trash in neighbors' garbage cans. Brian was extradited to Idaho and is currently incarcerated in Moscow. Hey everyone, how are you? Thanks for being here. Please hit that like button for me, you guys. And I'm sorry about the intro messing up. For some reason, this page that I'm about to pull up kept loading while the intro was playing. And I was like, no, it's not working that way. Okay, I hope everyone can see that. And here we go. This is a local news station, I do believe.
Glenn.
Grief. It's something that none of the families know how to go through. So when you kind of share the experience and share what's helping.
That's all we got. You know, all of our videos, that is everything we have of Kate.
Frustration, depression. The loss of a loved one, Anna and Maddie, is no different. They were torn away from their families, killed one terrible night in November.
Moscow police have confirmed they found 4 people dead.
And now, 1 year later, as a 28-year-old man faces trial for killing them, we speak with their families.
This interview.
I feel really bad for the families, you guys, today. If we could just send them some extra prayers. If you don't pray, please just send positive vibes to the families and also to Dylan and Bethany, who are, going through a lot. Look what they just went through. Hi, Mark, Sexy Wild Thing, Carol freaking Claus. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here.
It was an opportunity for you to have a voice. What do you want people to know?
How has this year been?
We've been a whole year without our kids. It's a tough pill to swallow.
She's missed everybody's birthday. She's missed her own birthday. She's missed every holiday.
They are fighting for their loved ones' memories and legacies.
Kaylee was chosen because of the bond that she had. There was a sense of jealousy and somebody from the outside wanting to destroy that. So we can't let that happen.
They are fighting for justice.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're playing a part in our daughter getting justice.
They are fighting because those 4 young students can no longer fight for themselves.
We just decided from that point on we had to, you know, it took one kid. It can't take.
Okay, this is Ethan Chapin's mom.
The rest of us.
Detectives arrested Brian Christopher Kohlberger.
And with the death penalty on the table, the only suspect in the case, Brian Kohlberger, is fighting a courtroom battle for his life. The 28-year-old, who celebrated a birthday 8 days after the murders, was a doctoral student in criminology at Washington State University, just a few miles from where Kaylee, Ethan, Xana, and Maddie took their last breaths. Kohlberger died to Moscow on January 3rd.
Brian Kohlberger behind bars.
You guys, when Brian was extradited from Pennsylvania to Idaho, I didn't know this at the time, but there were actually lives with people tracking his airplane going from PA to Idaho. I thought that was so funny. Like they legit just went live and watched an airplane on a map go from east to west. Did any of you guys watch that?
Behind me. Kohlberger booked on 4 counts of first-degree murder.
And 313 days since Kohlberger's arrival, the day those 4 students were killed. We present
That it has been 1 year
What the
since
hell?
those 4 murders in an off-campus home near the University of Idaho. Good evening. I'm sure arrest has captured the nation's attention. But for many of us, this is our home. These are our children, our neighbors. This is our community. And for this type of evil to have visited is simply hard to comprehend. 1 year later, the families of the victims
You could feel like you can't get out of bed some days. And so I would say the best thing is you just literally have to dig deep and make the choice to put your best foot forward. You have to get up for the people who love you and are around you and that you surround and that lives that you touch.
Literally in one fell swoop, just got the best of the batch.
I never saw those sweatshirts. That is absolutely adorable.
Like literally, like, you know, one little 20 minutes, just how did this happen? You know, all just amazing kids.
and much more with them in this special coverage. The aftermath of a crime so heinous, it is hard for the human mind and, more importantly, the families to comprehend. But we begin tonight with where things stand with the prime suspect in the legal case as the families yearn for accountability and ultimately justice. Even though that will help, it will never fully heal, ever. In the eyes of investigators, then WSU criminology student Brian Kohlberger became the prime suspect, just a few weeks after those 4 students were killed. But because of gag orders on the case, the world didn't even know there was a suspect until his arrest. Much of what we know about the investigation and the eventual arrest of Brian Kohlberger is through evidence that detectives compiled during their search for the killer. Nonstop Local's Morgan Ashley with more on what could become the main arguments when the case makes it to trial.
A grand jury indicted Brian Kohlberger May 16th of 2023 on 4 counts of first-degree murder. The first place any evidence against Kohlberger appeared was in the affidavit filed by law enforcement to show their reasoning for arresting him. Filed on December 29th, the day before his arrest, the 18-page document outlines the case against the former WSU doctoral student. From that, we know one of the surviving roommates at the King Road home saw someone in the house the night of the murders. 5'10" or taller, Koberger, male, not very muscular but athletic, with bushy eyebrows, similar to Koberger, but certainly not conclusive. So investigators saw there was also a shoe print with a diamond-shaped pattern similar to a Vans shoe that was discovered just outside of one of the surviving roommates' bedrooms. But by far the most damning is a single source of DNA left on a knife sheath next to Madison Logan's body. DNA from that sheath, along with trash collected from the Koberger family home in Pennsylvania. Cheek swastika match to the
believe that one of the main reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and hurry his in those documents.
Bro, what in the world is going on with this video? So I have a few things to say though. Do you think that he I didn't know that it unhooked my cam and my speaker on StreamYard. Thank you. Dang, I was talking a lot too. I wanted to know if you guys thought that he acted alone. And then I agree with the reporter saying that he wanted to get extradited back to Idaho to see what they had against him. You guys have to remember his background. He knows what he's doing. And what was the third thing that I was asking? Was he acting alone? We'll keep on going and I'll remember it again. I was muted, doggone it. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, so we all read the affidavit. Do y'all think that what's in the affidavit is the only evidence they have against Brian? Because I hear this all the time. And there's a gag order. We're not going to know what the prosecution has against him. And people are like, well, with what we know, I can't convict him. Well, for one, you're not convicting him. And for two, okay, that was from earlier. You don't know everything. No one can say he's guilty, innocent until, okay, you can have your opinion, but I think he is guilty. I think, in my opinion, from what I've seen, he's guilty. But I do believe he has an amazing attorney, and I'm afraid. I really am afraid. You can't hear anything? Wait, hold on. You can't hear anything on? You can't hear the video? Let me know. I am. And also, I want to say this too while I'm paused. In my opinion, if you're innocent, you don't need to try a million different ways to get out of this charge. No, there's no way to get bond on a quadruple murder. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. So can y'all hear? Y'all can't hear the video, guys? Let me know. Is Kaz the only one? Kaz, can you hear me? I guess you can if you're answering me. Oh boy, let me see. Let me take it down and put it back up. Mark, sexy wild thing. Can you guys hear me? Musical Neptunian. Hey. I mean, not me. Could you hear the video? Please let me know so that I can continue playing it. I'm going to play it and y'all let me know, please. Yeah. No? Oh my gosh. Hold on. You didn't hear the video at all from the beginning? All right. Let me stop this and redo it. All right, guys. Let's see if you can hear it now. And if not, I'll try a different video. Not sure why it's not working. All right. All right, let's see now. Let me know, please.
The night of November 13th. They also did not provide details on where he was going or list anyone who could vouch for him, saying,
hold on a second.
More would be revealed during cross-examination of witnesses. As we mentioned, much of this case against Bryan Kohberger does remain sealed, which means that much of his defense is unknown as well. As far as we know, the murder weapon remains missing or new of these 4 students. For Nonstop Local, I'm Morgan Ashley.
The case against Bryan Kohberger is already one of the most document-heavy cases currently being argued in the Idaho court system. Lori Vallow was arrested, tried, and sentenced. And comparatively, that case has about half the documentation filed in totality that Kohberger has right now.
Did y'all hear that? The Lori Vallow case had half less paperwork and documents than Bryan has. Look how long it took for their trial, for Lori's trial, even Chad. And now this case is double the documents and the paperwork. Guys, it doesn't look very good as far as even a 2024 trial. Wow.
We are months, possibly years, from an eventual verdict. Nonstop Local's Guy Tannenbaum spoke with the 2 criminal defense attorneys about what we can expect as this case slowly winds its way to trial.
Prosecutors have stated their intent to seek the death penalty against Mr. Kohberger, which complicates things procedurally even further. By all accounts, everything to this point has been done by the books, which means we could be in for the long haul.
There's a natural inclination to want justice and to want it quickly and swiftly. You want to be certain, and particularly in a death case, there should be, no room for error.
Spokane-based attorney Kevin Curtis says the average time for a death penalty case to get to trial is generally upwards of 2.5 years.
So I would anticipate
There y'all go.
that we're still a year and a half out.
Different people have different ideas about what justice is, because I've seen and heard a lot about why not just go hang the guy now? Why not just go do this or that? Well, that's just not the way things are done.
North Idaho-based attorney Jim Seeby says the amount of extremely labor-intensive work necessary is mind-boggling.
When you have something as substantial as a capital case, you're in it full tilt is really what it is.
Even what appear to be relatively simple motions can take, a month to be heard and maybe longer to be decided.
Many of the motions filed so far centering around the evidence in the case.
Really, the direct evidence and the most damaging evidence is the DNA. The other evidence, obviously all circumstantial evidence.
Well, there's quite a bit in the affidavit that was made public following the arrest, and a few morsels that have come out before. We don't really have an idea of the bulk of the evidence in this case.
Bam. Thank you very much, dude. Penelope, you're fine. Thank you very much. You just confirmed what I've been saying for the past year.
And both agree going through all of that evidence takes time.
Getting your arms around discovery itself for the defense, takes a number of months.
So could impaneling a fair jury, at which point both attorneys believe Kohberger's defense will file for a change in venue.
So in a case with this amount of publicity, the juror pool in the county itself is most likely to have more knowledge than the average person, more likely to have a predetermination as to guilt or innocence.
If the trial is in fact moved to another county in Idaho, all of the players remain the same, including Judge John Judge presiding over the case, prosecutor Bill Thompson, defense attorney Ann Taylor, and their entire staffs, which Seeby calls the very best of the best.
Those involved in this case really have it together. I think the big thing to hope for is that they can achieve a fair jury, and then that justice would be done with however that comes to be.
That's when true justice is been met and has been served, is by letting the process proceed as it was intended to protect everybody's individual rights.
And because this is a death penalty case, Curtis tells me that Kohberger's defense team is challenging everything they can, including the grand jury indictment against
I unmuted myself and then right away muted myself again. Hold on.
against him. He says it's their responsibility.
Okay, I had to remember. Again, I'm going to say, if you're innocent, why do you have to fight anything? Just do what you have to do, get on with the trial, and prove your innocence. Well, you don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt. But still, am I right, guys? Like, do you believe the same thing? If you're innocent, why go through all of this shit? Fight everything. Go through every single motion that you can to try to get something dropped, something taken off. If you're innocent, why?
Because ultimately their client's life could be on the line. Reporting in Moscow, Guy Tannenbaum, Nonstop Local.
Still to come tonight on the Idaho murders 1 year later. We sit down with the families of Kaylee Gonsalves and Ethan Chapin. Both families have been vocal in their fight for justice in this case, their fight to remember these 4 students, these young lives. Stay with us. We'll be back next with my in-depth interview with Steve and Christy Gonsalves. Christy and Steve Gonsalves are two of the strongest people you'll ever meet. Class, character, strength. Both times they've allowed me into their Idaho home. Their daughter, Kaylee, one of the 4 students killed a year ago. Steve promising to be at every single court hearing. He said, quote, I want him to look me in the eyes. I've sat down with the Gonsalves family twice now. And this last time, a year removed, you can see a change in them. The fight as strong as ever. But the reality that their little girl really is gone forever is, simply put, crushing.
Somehow rolling into November really has, I didn't really think much about it. People would say it to me and mention it to me. And of course, I'd be like, yeah, I don't need to be reminded, but there's something that has came along really strong with this month of November, and the weather and everything that came along with it has some deep, significant reminders of losing Kaylee and Maddie. And it's been rough. It's been really rough. And you just miss them. And the longer they're gone, the more they miss, and the more you miss them, and the more you realize how badly you really have been robbed. All of our pictures, that's all we got. All of our videos, that is everything we have of Kaylee. And it just is, it's insane. It just is crazy that she was just here last year. Today she was here.
There's just no right way to do something like this, it's something a family should ever have to go through. So we're just going to kind of try to figure it out as it happens. But, we lean on the community and the people that we've met and all the love and all the support that we get. And there's a massive amount of support, not just locally, but literally worldwide.
Let's talk about the wheels of justice. Last time we talked, there was a date. It's been moved back. It's been pushed back, right to a speedy trial, pushed back. Just where are you with the legal system right now as we are in November, and what do you expect going forward? And what do you want to say on that? I want to give you an opportunity to voice where you're at.
It's gut-wrenching. It is literally gut-wrenching how slow everything has to go. It's like, why does this have to be so drawn out? I mean, I know it sounds crazy. Well, it's important in this. I get it. It is important, but like, there's facts. We have certain facts and we have certain knowledge. And I just can't believe that this is
how it works.
This is how it works.
They had the whole schedule laid out.
Yeah. And we had the dates.
It was right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And then it's taken away.
And then
that has to just be agony.
Yes.
And then now, 2 months or almost, and have no date. And then even today, people are like, oh, Christy, we got some progress today, And I'm, like, progress? December 1st? That's not progress. That's a whole nother month away. But they're like, well, it's better than not having any dates. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
You are right. It is.
That's important to bring up, that there's some people who never even get to find the person who did this. So it could be way worse. We think the police department, Moscow, the FBI, I'm still learning about what they did and how they put things together. And it's amazing the resources we were able to have. We'll do whatever it takes as a community to get this person taken care of, and so we can all move on.
With that type of determination from law enforcement, from the investigators, does it at least provide, basically, if I'm listening correctly to what you said, it at least gives you some solace?
Yeah.
A little bit of comfort that there's somebody and you're not fighting this alone.
Yep. And when I see them going into that house and constructing a crime scene and going through and doing all their work, it's just more evidence. It's not less, it's more evidence. So then when we do go to trial, there'll just be more good days than there is those what if days, like what the heck happened today. There's going to be a lot of those good days where we get to see all these things.
Well, and I don't think it'll be good days, but.
Well, knowing evidence and knowing that they've got the right person.
Yeah.
And everything is just being
Yeah,
laid
I
out.
just can't imagine. We think we don't have a lot of answers there. Yeah, I just can't imagine a mother with a missing child, or a dead child that you have no idea how it happened. Like, I just,
Some people still think their kid might be alive, and
yeah, I just
they don't know.
But that says a lot about you both. In your absolute grueling, most agonizing time, you also think about others.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I do want to shine a light on the darkest year that you've had. Unbelievable. There have been periods of kindness from people you know, from people you don't know. What has that meant to you? Maybe give us an instance of something that took you back, that people went so far out of their way to say, we care about you. We are so sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have received a tremendous amount of gifts. And every single one of them are absolutely meaningful to me. We get pictures drawn by little kids that says, my 9-year-old drew this. She just really wanted to. And, it's a picture of Kaylee and Maddie, with flowers. It's meaningful. I love it. I love getting that stuff and opening it and reading them. And people write you letters, like pages and pages and pages, and every single word that they say, just, you find so much comfort in it.
It's
so
helpful.
Much. And yes, and they're telling us, they're crying with us and they're grieving with us, and they have
picture, because I've seen
that is a picture of Kaylee, a real picture of Kaylee in
Gosh, guys, look how beautiful that picture is. Wow. That is amazing. Yeah, Mark Klein, we already know it is messed up.
the arms of Jesus, welcoming her into heaven is what the feeling I got from it. And like I said, when I unwrapped it, it was face down, and I turned it around, and it really took me back.
And that came from an artist in Alabama that you don't know?
No, we don't know her.
What did it do for you when you first saw that, for both of you?
It still helps every single day. You come in home, you see it. Yeah, it's her smile, but it's a picture that you imagine, and then you get to see. You get to see it in real life, and it's medicine.
It's
in a way.
so real, like lifelike, like it's just, and I've always loved that picture of Kaylee. I love that picture that they use of Kaylee, and the Jesus that they use. There's many different renditions that people will use of Jesus, and
this strikes home.
Yeah, I love looking at it.
You two, every time we've met, have shown class and strength. That needs to be recognized and highlighted. We appreciate that. And I want to give you this opportunity to have the final word, whether it's about Kaylee, whether it's a message to the community. Both of you just have the opportunity to say what's on your heart and what you feel you need to say.
I would have to say, the same thing. Just thank you so much to our community, to our friends beyond.
We'll never pretend like we'll be the same. We'll always be missing her, but we'll be reunited with both of them. And there'll be some stories, some catching up to do.
Steve and Christy were so warm and welcoming as we met this month. We are so grateful to them for continuing to share their daughter's story.
They really do have so much support around the world, and it is so beautiful to see that with all the tragedies, crime, horrible things happening in the world today. It is wonderful to see all of the support that all the parents of the victims going through. I didn't want to stop during the interview.
With us. When we return, Ethan Chapin's mother sits down with Nonstop Local's John Webb. Stacey Chapin talking about her family's deep grief and her son's lasting legacy. The Chapin family, unbelievable tragedy. Now, Stop Local's John Webb sat down with Ethan's mother, Stacy Chapin, and they talked about a year without her son and what she's doing to turn grief into action.
On a beautiful star-filled October night, triplet children were born, and oh, what a sight. 3 healthy babies, what could we say? Such a joyful, amazing, and momentous day. He was amazing. And he was that way from the very beginning. But there was something incredible about that boy who wore blue. His bubbly personality immediately shone through. Day after day, the boy who wore blue woke up happy and went to bed happy too. God, he was a character. I mean, he lit up any room. And that's what we all miss the most in him, I think. He just had a funny joke to tell. He just had this magnanimous personality. He could walk in the room and it just elevated any situation. He was amazing. He was an amazing kid. We're fortunate to have had him in our life for 20 years.
Looking hindsight, he really touched a lot of lives.
Shocking. And we had no idea. I mean, it has been a year of people literally coming out of the woodwork that we literally had no idea. Kids that he sat in class with.
Is there one thing that you miss the most about Ethan?
Oh yeah, I miss hugging Ethan. He was definitely a mama's boy. He always wore this blue Patagonia coat. I'd give anything to go back and be able to have another hug from him. Yeah. Day after day, the boy who wore blue woke up happy and went to bed happy too.
How have you been? It's been about a year. How are you doing right now?
I think overall we're doing very well. I mean, all things considered, right? Going into a year, it feels a little bit more emotional, I would say. Because we're starting, the news things and the vigil information for the University of Idaho was just released. I mean, it just brings back, it's like, my God, we've been a whole year without our kids. I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, but, we can't change the outcome. We've said it all along. And so we've really tried to focus on Maisie and Hunter and, the things that we've created in Ethan's memory and that we're really proud of. And so, but the kids are good and, Jim and I are great. And that's what we have to spend our time focusing on.
Something that you posted on social media caught my attention. You said that you were told to look for a victory every day, even if it was the tiniest little victory. You say that was excellent advice.
It was excellent advice. I'd give it to anybody who is in any kind of tough situation. You have to get up and you have to find something. It might be the taste of your coffee in the morning. It might be a little flower that's growing in a crack in a sidewalk. You have to find something that you look at that just is like, okay, that's the good that I found today. And there were days we've done that. We've literally, there are about 5 months that I call it the depths of hell, but where you just literally have to wake up every morning and think to yourself, I don't know what in the hell just happened to my family, right? I mean, legitimately. And so you start looking for those things. We came upon the Sigma Chi house Monday morning, November 14th. And it was very early in the morning. And those boys, it's a profound moment in the journey that we've taken over the course of the last year. Those boys were flocking out of that house. Their mothers had called them home, literally. I need to hug you. I need to love you. I need you to come home. And it left us like they had their pillows underneath their arms and they were just hopping into their cars. Like they were just driving away. They'd left everything at the fraternity. And it was a very moving moment for us. It was, another moment that said this kid had touched all these lives and these hearts. And we saw it again at the memorial and at the vigil and every time we go to the Sigma Chi house. And wherever he went, the friends would all swarm. This tale, this story of the boy who wore blue, is a message for everyone, including you. That's what I have left of Ethan, is to be his voice in memory of him. Life is short, so give it your best. Be happy, smile, and encourage the rest.
She's an incredible woman with a lot of strength. Stacy's book about Ethan, The Boy Who Wore Blue, is available for purchase online. After
You guys, I never heard the whole book, and it broke me. I was like, I really wanted to cry. I just can't believe how amazingly well the families are doing. I mean, not well, but, I hope they're getting therapy and stuff they need to cope with it, or should I say cope with it, with the situation.
the break, as Stacy said, each of the families lost a loved one, but their friends lost 4. We return to the University of Idaho campus to talk to students about moving forward, but never moving on.
Oh, forgot to mute. Also, I know we don't get along, but Xana's mom was interviewed on Crime Sleuthen's channel. If y'all want to go watch that later. Of course, not right now. This guy didn't mention that he talked to her. So that's why I was just letting you guys know. Also, that's the link to this video that I'm playing.
Off like any normal Sunday. But then, tragedy when Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves lost their lives. 1 year later, their fellow vandals continue to grieve deeply, but are finding ways to heal together as time moves on. Nonstop Local's Ava Wainhouse was in Moscow speaking with students on campus.
Here at the University of Idaho, the pain from last year's horrific murders is apparent. But what's even more apparent is the work being done by students to move past it. The road to healing is a long one, but it's a road the students here tell me they're walking down together.
It has that sense of depth that you can feel in the somberness that's still there in the area.
From November of 2022 to November of 2023, time has allowed a lot to stay the same in Moscow, and it's also made room for a lot of change.
It feels different, and there's a sense of sadness that truly hasn't left the community, and I don't think it will for a while.
Olivia Nemi is still here. She's the first student we spoke with after the murder of these 4 innocent, Kaylee Gonsalves and Ethan Chapin.
No one would have ever imagined something slightly like this could happen in Moscow, Idaho, in such a small town.
1 year later, their memories continue to flow through campus. As students walk by on their way to class, they're trying to move on. Many of them didn't want to speak about the murders anymore. Understandably, it's just too hard. Never forget.
It's never going to truly be the same again, and there might be moments of bliss, but that's just a moment. It's never ever going to feel the exact same or look the same. Homecoming, for example, was really hard for a lot of people because that was a time that we all got to be together and celebrate and have fun, and a lot of us had to do it without 4 extra individuals, and that was a hard thing to grasp and figure out how to do it in a new light.
But the Vandals are remaining brave and bold through it all. This time last year, you could drive into Moscow and instantly be hit with sorrow. Public displays of love for the lives gone, Students and residents of Moscow alike praying for answers.
It's always hard. Every time I see a photo of them or hear another story coming from a family, it hits, and it's a hard one to hear, but it's one that I want to hear because I don't want their memories to die, and I don't want the stories of their families to go away.
And if it's up to the vandals, their memories will never die.
We have a long journey ahead, and it's never going to fully be the same again. And I don't want it to be the same. Those 4 left an impact, and we are meant to have a different campus, a different university, a different community after that.
And many students here tell me they're planning on going to the vigil that will be held for Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee on November 13th. From Moscow, Idaho, I'm Ava Wainhouse, Nonstop Local.
When we return, the University of Idaho has...
Oh, I didn't mute. Damn it. I have a video about the vigil also. You have to, Lisa. Like, this is such a horrific situation that I don't even cover this case, you guys. But I felt compelled to do this because, like that student just said, they need to keep their names alive and make sure everyone knows what he did, allegedly, in my opinion.
Made resources available for students. They provided security for students in the weeks before an arrest. They continue to find ways to help current students and on those 4 lost last year. Corey Howard has that story next. The small town of Moscow and the University of Idaho were thrust into the national and international spotlight a year ago. Now, with some new students and many returning ones, Corey Howard spoke with the university's Dean of Students about how, even 1 year later, reminders of the tragedy are everywhere. And that can be a good thing.
On this brisk autumn day, for the first time in many months, the backdrop of this memorial that still stands is law enforcement. The FBI collecting more evidence from the King Road house.
Last year was a stark reminder crime can happen anywhere, and violent crime happens everywhere.
But across the way, with the Vandal logo proudly shining above the campus of the University of Idaho, another kind of reminder is in motion.
It's about moving forward, but not moving past.
On this day, on this campus, born out of tragedy, for the past year, it's the very definition of strength.
The Vandal family value has just really been reinforced, looking out for one another, caring for one another. And those have been lasting legacies from how we all came together from last fall.
Tell me, guys, what do you think about the house being torn down? And also, what do you think that the students think about the house being torn down? We already know the family doesn't want it torn down. Prosecution and defense was like, go ahead, tear it down. And all of a sudden, thank God they didn't tear it down because they're doing a whole model of the house and everything. And thank God they didn't tear it down. But I don't think the university will keep it up if like trials in like the end of 2024 or, 2025.
Through support near and far.
I've heard from people from all over the world over the last year.
Dean of Students Blaine Eccles.
That outpouring of care and support just means the world to us.
Has watched his students.
Vandal strong. We've got your back. Let us know how we can help and support. We navigated through it last year. Just nothing but absolute pride in being a Vandal myself.
And it's a community that, even in the face of international attention from what happened, continues to grow.
Last year, we had our largest first-year class. This year, we had our second largest.
And Eccles attributes that growth to the very foundation the university is built on.
I think how we responded last year reinforced the importance of what we place as far as the value of our students and their safety, care, and concern I think that's a message that has resonated as well.
It hasn't been an easy road by any means.
What happened last year shook everybody to our core, without a doubt. It was a scary time on campus.
The process is not over.
I think some students still struggle with it, for sure.
But Eccles says the Vandal family has been doing everything they can to protect a safe learning environment. Practical things like increasing security. Ultimately, though, the culture has been cultivated by the Vandals themselves.
By students just showing up en masse to so many events, our athletic events, our plays, our programs.
Eccles says the university, as an educational institution, after all, has been offering students not only chances to learn, but to cope with loss through counseling and classes.
Students are utilizing the support services. They're showing up to our education programs. They're excited to be here. That's an infectious vibe that many of our students have.
To some, the changing colors and falling leaves can signal the end of a once vibrant season. As the students at the University of Idaho shuffle off to class.
Jennifer, I guess an empty lot would be better than a just shell of a house. With the shell being there would remind them, would have more memories than an empty lot. But I think that they want to put like a memorial garden or something there, if I remember correctly.
Class amidst the falling foliage on this October day. They do so knowing, perhaps better than some after the past year, that it's really just the beginning in the cycle of healing.
They have an absolute love for this institution, absolute love for their experience, and absolute love for the 4 Vandals that we lost.
After the break, details on tomorrow's vigil for Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. The student-led vigil happening on the same date their friends were taken, November 13th. We're back next.
So this one video basically played all the other videos that I wanted to play.
Tomorrow is officially 1 year since the day Kaylee, Ethan, Madison, and Xana were murdered. The University of Idaho is working every day with students with a vigil. Student-led vigil will take place at 6 p.m. on the administration lawn at the University of Idaho. Speakers will include friends and the Student Association president. The goal, honor their legacy and provide a place for students to heal together. It starts at 6 p.m. We will stream the vigil on nonstoplocal.com. Thank you for joining us for this special coverage. Idaho murders 1 year later. Next, we'll have your local news.
I think it's kind of awesome that that the university had a high enrollment number after all this happened. Let's see what else I have for you guys. Banfield did interview Christy and real quick if
all of you for doing this and giving us this opportunity to touch base with you. I know this has got to have been one of the most difficult days of your life. Steve, let me begin with you. Your reaction after laying eyes on the person accused of doing this horrendous crime against your family.
I just looked at a guy that looks like a normal, everyday, kid. I mean, I didn't see anything there that caught my eye. I just was overtaken by the fact that I was in a courtroom going over a case that had to do with 2 people that I cared and loved about. It was a little bit unreal, but I was just overtaken by the moment.
Christy, I can imagine that that is an understatement, being overtaken by something. You're in a club no one ever wants to belong to. There are so many others across this country who have been through what you've been through and say the same thing. It's unbelievable. They're numb. Does that sum up how you felt? Can you tell me what you thought?
I expected to feel just this immense amount of hate. And I'm sure that will come. I think that I'm a little bit in shock still. But looking at him, I just felt nothing. I mean, I just looked at him like, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him, his every moment.
She's so beautiful, you guys.
And I just could not believe that he has done what he has done. And I had a sick feeling for sure. It was very emotional. But on the other hand, I just was numb.
I expected him to be a bigger monster and a more intimidating.
I mean, I'm like, this is the guy?
Yeah.
This is the guy that murdered our daughter.
Are you going to be okay with continuing these court hearings? Are you going to show up at all of these court hearings? This is a lot. It's a lot to process. Before this, you were just parents of a couple of really great kids and living the American dream. And now there's this new normal in your life.
I think we'll lean on the prosecutor to tell us if the information is going to be to a level. Like I've already told them what I'm comfortable with hearing about the family house. I don't want to hear any of the gory details. So there'll be certain days that we're there and certain days that we check out,
We have Shannon that will keep us in.
And I hope y'all heard that. I didn't mute. And that is I forgot what I wanted to say. I cannot look at chat, you guys. This was done before. Like it wasn't recently, I don't think. So apparently not if they saw Brian for the first time. But they thought the same thing we thought when they saw him the first time. Is that him? Can he actually do this?
Tune with that as well. And we have other family members that will be going on some of those harder days. They feel that they can be there because
that's what I wanted to say. Of course, them not being at trial some days when they go through, the crime scene and what happened. That's understandable. Absolutely. 100%. And I hope that they don't feel some type of way about, not being there.
It's a long road, but and it's a drive for us. But we'll do it every day if we have to. We just don't want to do big bad details.
There's there on the screen. There are pictures of Kaylee as you're talking, and I'm always struck by how much she looks like you. Absolutely stunning.
You.
Just such a beautiful girl. Indeed.
Yeah, we didn't look like that. Mama's girl.
She looks like you, Steve. She's got some of you too. I just wanted to get a sense from you about justice. What is it? What does it look like for you? I mean, you're just starting this process.
For me, it's going to look a lot like an end. I mean, justice doesn't have a room where you can read books and you can go to school and you can have 3 meals and you can have your vegan diet. To me, that's not justice. Justice is when you leave the planet and the whole world is able to rejoice.
He's getting a vegan diet. What is the reason he's vegan? They're only supposed to change your diet like if it's medically necessary or if it's for religion purposes. Like Muslims don't get served pork. Actually, the jails that my ex was in Louisiana doesn't serve pork at all.
Rejoice and be glad that you are not there. That's justice, and we will forgive him. We will. We're not going to have that heavy weight on us. We will forgive this individual, and but he has to pay for what he's done. And it's not just our daughter, it's all the victims he needs to pay justice to. And, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Chrissy, it's always a shock to face the person who's alleged to have committed these horrendous acts and changed your lives forever. If you could say something to this person, what would you say?
I would just, I wouldn't want to give him too much. But I mean, I would tell him that, he destroyed our lives in an aspect. Does he realize what he has taken from us, from these 4 families? I mean, Ethan was a triplet. Maddie was an only child. Xana had siblings. Kaylee was one of.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I just didn't want to pause it. I know I was going to forget though. For them to be able to forgive him is a big hill to climb. But for them to be able to do that, it's just, they're like some of the strongest people that I know, just listening to what they've been through and what they've done this past year.
5. She was the middle child. She had 2 older siblings, 2 younger siblings. Just the immense loss. I mean, did he really think? I mean, he did really think about it, which makes it really hard. But why?
And I would add to that if you were looking for cruel girls that were bullies to you through your life when you were struggling, you picked the wrong girls. My girls have been through a lot, and they weren't the ones to pick on somebody that because they were overweight or they were struggling and people weren't. They were actually the ones to stick up for you. So yeah, you picked the wrong person if you were looking for vengeance on some people that were mean to you in your life, and you picked the wrong community. And we're gonna have to hold you accountable for that mistake.
Speaking of that accountability, has the prosecution or anybody from the prosecutor's office discussed the option of a death penalty? Because victims' families are consulted typically throughout the process, and this is an option on the.
We do know that he was given the death penalty. Let me see. I think okay, that's Ethan's. Oh, hold on.
Yes, I can.
Can I just ask you off the bat, how full time?
Not very easily. Not good. I mean, I don't know what to say to that.
I can't even imagine the pain that you and your family are going through. Have the police been helpful to you, Kara, to understand some of the things they can and can't say?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. They haven't said anything. I learn more on the news and on TV than they have said to me.
Have you had a chance to talk with some of the other parents of the other 3 kids who were there that night and share information amongst yourselves?
Not really, honestly. I've just been dealing with my family, and we've just been absorbing this shock.
Can you tell me, Kara, what you do know about this?
I will let you know. Xana's mom is a drug addict. She has been in and out of jails this past year. I hope that this incident doesn't, pull her down even more than what she already is.
Terrible night?
Well, what I do know is not nearly enough. We need more answers. There is, there is so much more that can be done that has not been done. And I just know that there's GPS, NASA to find out who went into that home that night. I know that. Why hasn't that been looked into? Why hasn't that been accessed?
Can I, Kara, can I ask you there is a mysterious sort of 4-hour and 45-minute block of time that's unaccounted for by the police timeline. The police say that your daughter Xana and her boyfriend Ethan were at the Sigma Chi house from 8 until 9 p.m., but then they don't have any information on where they were from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Do you know anything about that from either your information from the police or Ethan's family or anybody?
I may be candid in saying this, but I think that they were at a bar.
And where do you get that information from? Did someone tell you that they'd gone from the Sigma Chi house to a bar before they ended up home?
That's what their father conveyed to me, that he thought that they were at the bar at that night. So, yeah, I mean, that's what college kids do on the weekends. So.
But you don't know for sure that they left the Sigma Chi house, went to a bar. Okay.
I don't know for sure, absolutely not.
And have the police...
And this, my friends, is how rumors get started. This was at the beginning. Maybe it was the beginning of this year. I don't think it was the end of last year. And she's saying that they left the Sigma Chi house and went to the bar. We know Maddie and Kaylee was at the bar. But she doesn't know for a fact that they went to the bar. Now, people heard this, and how many people probably ran off with what she said?
Asked you any questions about where Xana might have been, or if she texted you, or if she had, if she'd communicated with any family members in that period of time?
No, no answers whatsoever. Really. I asked the investigators when they come and spoke to me. They were not able to offer me any answers. None.
Can I ask you, Xana's sister Jasmine has put such a beautiful tribute to Xana on her Instagram. And I wonder if she has any additional information, just perhaps from being able to access her sister's social media or her phone. Has Jasmine been able to ascertain any other details of what happened that night, or where Xana and Ethan were that night?
No, I'm not going to speak for Jasmine. You would have to ask her that yourself. And she says she's going through it right now without her sister. And I'm sure if she had any answers or any information, she's already conveyed that to the investigators.
May I ask you if you can confirm that Xana's room was on the second floor of the house?
Yes, I can confirm that. And,
and was it on... Sorry?
I just had a question about the other two roommates who were there on the first floor. And I just wonder, wasn't something heard, or the surviving roommates that were there, they had to have heard something. They had to have, the dog, something.
Well, we know Dylan heard something. Another person that lived in that house said there was absolutely no way they heard that, they didn't hear what happened.
I can help you with that somewhat. There is information from a prior tenant who lived on the first floor, who said when he lived there in 2019, he moved out. He said he could never hear anything.
Okay, well, then it's somebody else. I know somebody said that they could hear everything. But being on the first floor, they added the third. Didn't they add the top floor? I don't know. I would definitely think Dylan could hear absolutely more than Bethany. Now, maybe being on the first floor, the dude didn't hear anything, or whoever it was didn't hear anything. And if you're on the second floor, you can. Maybe that's what they meant.
On the second or third floor. If the television was playing very loudly on the second floor, he might hear it from the first floor. And I don't know if that helps you to understand.
The dog heard it, and the dog had to have been barking.
I have information there as well. I've got information there as well. Our Brian Enton spoke with the parents of Kaylee Gonzalez, and they have actually referred to that. And Brian's going to play that interview in a moment. But Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen on that first floor may not have been able to hear anything, according to the prior tenant, who said it was extremely difficult to hear because of the construction of that house. But I do want to ask you, if I can, Kara, was your daughter Xana's room on the right side of the house if you're looking from the parking lot, or on the left side across from the kitchen?
I can't answer that. I can't.
But you do know she was on the.
I never went there yet, so I don't know.
But you know she was on the second floor. Do you know if she looked out the front of the house or the back of the house?
I believe in the front, but I can't confirm. Like I said, I haven't been down to visit it yet, so I tried to go.
I'm thinking she really wasn't in Xana's life, guys. Just like we thought. I think she's confirming it.
Last month, but she was in class while I was down there, so.
Okay, our viewers are looking at the front of the house right now, and the window that I'm referring to is on the second story in the front of the house. And that's where we are, triangulating that perhaps that's where Xana and Ethan were that night. I do want to ask you if you know whether or not Xana had a lock on her bedroom door.
I believe.
Banfield, she don't know shit about the house, or whether she had a lock on the door.
She did, yes.
Do you know if it was a lock that was a code that you would punch in on the bedroom door? The prior tenant who used to live there said that every one of the doors in that home, all 6 bedrooms, were rented separately like apartments, and they all had coded locks. But lots of social media pictures have shown at least one of the locks on the door across from the kitchen on the second floor. It didn't appear to have a coded lock. But do you think that Xana's room had a coded lock?
I believe it did. Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
You said her father mentioned to you that they had replaced the lock?
Yes, that he had fixed it or something. But yeah, he said that he had fixed it the week before, just to make sure.
The week before.
Yeah.
So that's the lock on her own bedroom door, not the lock to the outside of the house. That's her own bedroom door's lock.
In the main lock he was referring to. I'm not sure. Just from telling me that when we were speaking. So
But you're talking about Jeff, right? Jeff Kernodle, Xana's dad?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And
Banfield gets on my nerves with this case, like with her fake sources and stuff like that.
And he had been there just a couple weeks before working on a lock, but you're not sure what door.
Just the weekend before, and he went to meet Ethan's parents, and went to check on Xana, and it was Dad Week at WSU for Jasmine, so he was over there, and they're pretty close schools. Pullman and Moscow are fairly short distance away from each other.
Did Xana's car have Arizona plates?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
And she used to live in Arizona, though, right?
I believe she got the car in Arizona, so that's highly likely, yes.
Do you know what kind of car she was driving?
Oh, Banfield, this is just too much, dude. She just said she doesn't know. She doesn't know anything about what happened. I mean, of course, not what happened. The house and Xana's life in the house. Dylan driver's guilt at this moment. Hold on one moment, please. One moment, please. Here we go. All right. I found the video. I'm back. I couldn't get the video to play right. And then when I closed it, it started to play. So let me check one more time. It's about Dylan having survivor's guilt at the moment. Of everything. It's just sad. And Bethany, we don't know pretty much anything about Bethany. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? StreamYard kicked me out. Like, what the heck? All right, let's try this again. Thank you guys for staying with me for this live. Thank you for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, and hit that thumbs up. Can you not hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard, y'all. It's like freaking the F out or something. All right. Some sound. Advertisements. Let me. If StreamYard lets me add it, we will be gravy.
Applebaum has sort of revelations that you've been able to come up with. Pretty astounding stuff. The fact that you have lived in Idaho, in this area, for, one thing I think that stood out to me the most is that you were able to talk with Dylan Mortensen's father, basically in hiding since this happened, assailed just ruthlessly online. I wanted to get your take on family and how Dylan is doing. What did you find out?
Ashley Banfield, hello. It's amazing.
Amen.
I've done a lot of work advocating for missing and exploited children. It's just great to hear. There's a special place in hell for some of those. To segue to your actual question is, I was able to, in the research for my father, for those who forget, Dylan Mortensen is one of the two survivors of the King Road homicides. In the beginning, weeks after those homicides, she was basically dogpiled on social media. Many people saying that she had something to do with the crimes. Many people saying that she was a drug dealer. Other people saying other strange and unusual things about her. This was part of the trauma that she experienced. Father, I was able to just walk up to his house. Many national news correspondents had tried the same thing. They hadn't gotten very far. He's a rather large, intimidating man. I don't know if that's part of the reason why national correspondents couldn't sort of break that wall and talk to him. I had Idaho plates on.
StreamYard is really acting up. I hope y'all heard that. It's not over. Are you kidding right now? Oh, it's because I paused it. Okay. They still think he's something special because Dylan's dad talked to him and no one else.
25 years almost. I live just a couple of miles from Dylan Mortensen, actually, and a couple of miles in the other direction from her father. I was able to pull up to his house. He answered the door. I told him I was an Idaho guy researching this book, and I don't know if I caught him on the right day or what, but he hadn't spoken to anybody else. He had turned down the New York Times and all kinds of people, and he let me into his house, and we sat at his dining room table for a good 30 minutes. He had a very large dog that was watching me very carefully. And I think Brent Mortensen was watching me very carefully too. He has a lot of reason to distrust reporters. One of the first things that happened when Dylan Mortensen came home was
Y'all can't hear the video? Let me know. Let me know if y'all can hear it or not. Okay, great. Thank you.
several paparazzi were stalking her in Boise. Boise, we might have 1 million people here, but we're certainly not used to paparazzi lining our streets. Our international magazine posted a picture that said Dylan Mortensen on her way to Starbucks, and she's wearing running shorts and whatever they said. They described her clothing as if she were, some movie star of some sort. It turns out, Brent Mortensen told me that was actually not Dylan in that magazine that had splattered the picture all around, but her one of Brent Mortensen's other daughters.
That's what I heard, Lisa. But you know what? I don't know if that's factual or not because we really don't have proof of that. There's a whole lot of stuff that has started about this case. And I don't know. It's crazy. But this man just said something that I wanted to talk about.
A 17-year-old who had nothing to do with this case.
That's what I wanted to say. Y'all, that wasn't even Dylan in the picture. That was her sister. How rude is that? Always trying to get some story in the magazine, in the tabloids, in the paper that you can't even put out factual information.
Didn't live up Moscow had nothing to do with the
How
people's.
to all of this, you know, big media and paparazzi were to see your little girl, because I don't care how old Dylan Mortensen is, she's his little girl, to see her targeted the way she was and has been for the last 10 months. How is he processing it, and how?
You know, I spoke with him a couple of months ago now. It's only just coming out because the book is coming out. But the state I caught him in was one of deep heartbreak for his daughter, for the cyberbullying that had occurred from the cyber sleuthing community, who, by the way, has done a lot of good, actually, in many cases. In this instance, a lot of harm was done to a lot of innocent people. And he was heartbroken. He is a big, like I said, an imposing guy, but very soft-spoken when he was speaking about the pain that he was suffering on behalf of his little girl, like you said. And Dylan herself has retreated from the public eye. Very few people see her out and around. She is from what I've been told, she is in trauma therapy of sorts. She's getting help from the spiritual community. She is isolating herself, but she is stepping out a little bit at a time. I've been told from mutual friends that she is gaming online with peers in group gaming sessions, and she's doing what she can.
That's really sad that she has to seclude herself in her house, and the only social activity she has is gaming with other people. That's not a life to live for such a young person, a young adult. Just, becoming an adult and living her life. That's what she needs to be doing. That's so sad. Paparazzi. As if. Are you kidding me, people?
And without breaking real out into the public. See guy tell me on the phone, I could get you a lot of money for a photo of her. And that's not how we work in Idaho.
I mean, this isn't a celebrity. She's not Taylor Swift.
Did y'all hear that? They could make a lot of money off of a picture of Dylan. Banfield says she's not Taylor Swift. What in the world?
She is a victim of a horrendous crime. She was there, witnessed it. She will never be the same. This poor child not only went through that horror and lost her best friends, but she's now been cyber bullied by just a relentless online mob. And I can't even imagine how she in her early 20s is coping, let alone her father having to watch this. I wanted to ask you one other thing that I found super interesting in your book, and that is that you found
apparently it's his book. Yeah, Jennifer, it's his book, the guy that's talking right now.
a friend of Brian Kohberger's who rode the bus with him to school every day. And this girl had some really significant insight on how Brian, what was it? What was her account?
Yeah. This young woman had told me, and she wished not to be named, but she told me quite a bit about him. She said that he was bullied almost constantly as a junior high student, as was she. They were both nerds. who didn't fit in. She said they were very close. They sat together on the bus almost every day. Brian Koberger, she said, listened to music in his earbuds to block out the bullying, to block out the sort of chaos and darkness of the time period that he was living through. She said that the administrators of their schools did nothing about bullying at the time. So Koberger will walk around the halls listening to screamo music and at times hip hop and rap. She said that if you were in junior high and junior high students integrate, basically, who's next to your locker, right? That continued into high school because the lockers were assigned alphabetically in the Pleasant Valley district, which she called, by the way, colloquially, Pregnant Valley, because she said there's rampant teen pregnancy and lots of social based issues. And it just sounded like a really dark place. And what we know from other reporting from the Idaho Statesman, my good buddy here in town, there's a lot of heroin use, a lot of OxyContin use, a lot of drugs, a lot of darkness. And Brian Koberger, as a really heavily bullied student, slid really easily into that. We know about his drug use. What we didn't know so much is the constant bullying that she talked about. And at some point,
I'm fascinated in that only because that will be something that his defense attorney will seize upon if he's convicted, and if there's a secondary, trial for the death penalty, they will bring that in potentially as some kind of a mitigating.
What is a secondary trial? Hello, it's me. I was muted. Oh, okay. Okay, so if he's found guilty and he gets sentenced to death, then you're talking about the appeal. Okay, I got it. So basically, he said what's going on with Dylan, and he's talking about his book now. No, however, he is just going by what people are saying about him. He doesn't know Brian. No. So the rest of the video is basically just him talking about his book. Brian Enton is in Moscow for the vigil. If he films it and plays it, I will come live and play it for you guys. So that we can kind of there in spirit, All right, you guys. Thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate you. Please hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you can, I would appreciate it if you would join my membership. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day.